Hello, everybody. Bryony Zasman here, and thank you all so much for joining me today. We have a 30-minute session planned. We will keep it to 30 minutes, and at the end, if there's any questions, we can go through Q&A. If you have questions during the session, please feel free to pop them in the chat box or note them down, and we'll get to them at the end. Additionally, if you'd like to meet with us on a one-on-one or have questions, you're also always welcome to reach out to us directly at hello@zoomcatalog.com. So we have a two-part series, today being the first session, focused on accelerating content creation and distribution in 2025. In today's session, we're focusing on content creation, something we know all industry suppliers struggle with and something even distributors struggle with, but expect as well. So this is a supplier-focused session, and we're going to jump right in. So a quick recap of our agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about the new era of digital content and creation. Then we're going to be looking at our creation tools, as there are a couple different ways in which you can create content more quickly, make it a little bit more modern and interactive. We're going to talk about catalog strategies and trends we're seeing within the industry. And then we'll talk about getting started. So now that you are aware of these different options, where do you start based on where you are at currently with your content creation? So I want to start a little bit with talking about the history of content creation, especially as it pertains to the promotional product industry. We started Zoom Catalog back in 2004. If you've been around since then, you will remember the days in which distributors and suppliers were highly dependent on print catalogs. Suppliers would print and ship hundreds, thousands of catalogs every year. Distributors would take those catalogs, file them into filing cabinets, and that is how they did their product research, and that is how they got product information to their customers. Now, of course, we've been through a lot of evolution since then, and there are still some suppliers that are a little bit stuck in those print catalog ways. And I like to mention this because we see it often. When suppliers are creating content, particularly their catalogs, they are still using the print catalog strategies for design and distribution, even when catalogs aren't intended to be printed. So more and more suppliers are expanding out, doing more than their full line catalog and putting that content out there, which is amazing. But when you're designing and you're designing for print, you have certain constraints you don't have for digital. You limit the amount of pages in your piece by putting lots and lots of products on every page. Because print doesn't have an interactive element, you try to fit in all the product information on every page for every product. We actually did a whole session on designing for print versus digital. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, we're happy to share that session. But it's an important thing to bring up because this progression has influenced how suppliers look at content today and share content today. As I mentioned, a lot of the content that was created back then and over the last previous years, the content was really focused on product data. So it was all about including every bit of information about the item, the materials, the sizes, the options, the input methods, and a lot of that's really important. But as we look at the tools that are available to you today, you do not have to include every bit of information because you have options now to include an interactive element where they can click through and see that information if need be. Therefore, highlighting the important parts in your design and focusing on making sure that content looks beautiful. Of course, with the old ways, design skills were needed. So pretty much all content was created in some special software like Illustrator or InDesign. That led to issues for suppliers because you could only create so much. It would take a lot of time to put something together, and you needed to have a dedicated person with a specific set of skills to create. And therefore, most suppliers would create just one catalog, one full line catalog, get it out there, and maybe some flyers. But it meant that there were so many missed opportunities creating breakout lookbooks, seasonal catalogs, even customer or project based pieces as well. Imagine a world in which your customer calls and asks for some suggestions, and one of your sales reps could put a beautiful lookbook together for them in seconds and get it over to them, something they can then take and share with their customer. So that is something we're going to show that you can unlock now with the modern options that you have for creating content. One very obvious issue with old content, especially when you think about print, is it was static. So things change, pricing changes, availability, really hard to keep that content accurate and up to date. And we'll see with the new tools, that is something that we have overcome. And I touched on this as well, one for everyone. So you would create one full line catalog. Everybody got that catalog. That's what they used. However, that doesn't always work. Again, maybe you actually have multiple categories of product. So in a perfect world, you could have a catalog per category, your drinkware, your pens, and so forth. But when you were looking at constraints of printing or even just sharing like a PDF online, it becomes very difficult. So we have also created tools where now you can personalize and customize, give each customer or group of customers exactly what they need. I wanted to specifically talk about PDFs. It is something we still see today where suppliers are sharing their content as PDFs. It is a trend. It's something we are always trying to help suppliers see beyond, but PDFs are very problematic in terms of sharing, and they come with a lot of problems. So what we'll see is that suppliers link the PDF on their website. They even send email blasts where to view the catalog, you have to download the PDF. And a PDF is just a very heavy file that somebody has to open on their computer. And when they want to share it, they have to save it to their computer and share it on. So if you have a large catalog that is a PDF, it's going to be many, many megabytes. So you're dealing with load times. It's just very inconvenient. Also, a PDF, once a distributor has that PDF on their computer, you cannot update it. They have that version, they're stuck with it. If you update pricing, they can't make changes there. So it makes updating very difficult, and it's also time consuming to update because you have to go back to your software, your designer, make those changes. I also like to mention that one huge flaw with PDFs is when you send your catalog or even a flyer or presentation as a PDF in an email to a customer, your chances of hitting their spam filter is way higher because many companies have tools in place to mark threats that come through email. And when you're sending a large attachment that somebody has to download, that systems don't like that. So putting a catalog or a PDF, or sorry, a flyer as a PDF in your email is just asking to go to spam. And then the last, which I think is one of the most important, is once you send your PDF out there, you have no idea how it's being used, how it's performing, if people are returning to it, if nobody is viewing it. So all of these things are very negative things to have to deal with when sharing content through PDFs. So if you have one takeaway from today, is if you are using PDFs to share your content, whether it's a whole catalog or even just one flyer for one customer, I highly encourage you to find the right tools so that you can share your content as links. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So this is the old way. We're still seeing it. You're not alone if you are sharing your content this way, but it is time to change and move past sharing content as static PDFs. So what is the new way? This has been the focus of Zoom Catalog since we started. The initial idea way back was let's get those print catalogs online and share them as digital. And we've evolved since then. So we have a suite of tools that focuses fully on the creation, distribution, and tracking of content. And we are focused on making these tools helpful for both suppliers and distributors. Now, we have a couple different options that work in different ways, and we'll go through each of them. But there are general themes throughout each tool or general issues with each tool that we are solving. So that's what we have listed here, and I just want to talk a little bit about them. Every single tool that I will show you today, the output of what you create is a shareable link. This is the alternative to a PDF. It's like sending somebody to a website. So you can have a link to the catalog, to the presentation, the flyer. All they need to do is click on it in an email and it's going to open up in their browser. It'll be responsive within a mobile device, a tablet. So you have the appropriate way to share the content and not end up in those spam filters or requiring your customer to deal with a huge PDF on their computer. The other huge benefit of sharing content through a link, like a website, is that you can do global updates, whether it is just a one catalog that you've shared with hundreds of people or a presentation you sent to a specific customer, you have control now what that link displays to them. So you can push updates, change your pricing, replace a product, and so forth. So updates is a huge benefit for creating content with some of the newer tools that we have available today. We also have real-time customization. This is another trend that has slowly evolved over the years, but it happened pretty early on when we first launched Zoom Catalog. It started with distributors loving these catalogs that were available on Zoom Catalog, which were replicas of the supplier print catalogs, but they didn't want to share them with the supplier's logo. So they wanted to share the whole catalog with their customer, but the supplier logo was a blocker to them. And that's when we built our product called Zoom Custom, where the distributor could actually replace the supplier's branding with their own. So they would get a replica of that catalog, but it would be their logo, their phone number, and their email. So when they shared it, it would look like to the end user that that distributor had created it. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. With some of our newer tools, we open up the doors to customization fully, where distributors can replace products, markup pricing, create their own pieces entirely. They can keep it simple, just do, drop a logo and phone number on something that you've created, or they can make their own entirely from scratch. Also the insights. So because we're sharing through link, we can track it. We can tell you who's viewing it, who's using it, who's customizing, how many times it's being clicked and viewed. These insights are incredibly helpful for your strategy because you can now figure out where to focus your efforts, what is working, what's not working, and so forth. The real-time customization is the same as customizable here. I'm not sure why we have it twice, so we'll skip that. And then another big thing is the interactivity that you can include with digital content. So going back to the PDF, it's pretty static. And even before that, the print catalog, it's entirely static. So again, you're cramming all your information onto the pages. You're trying to make sure it is all there. But now that you can add interactivity to your content, you can include the product name and the ID, and they can click on the product that can go maybe to a product page on your website where you have everything listed, or you can use our sidebar, which I'll get to, where they click and a pop-up shows up with that additional information. We can also take interactivity to video. So you could have videos throughout your content where they click and can watch the product in action or watch some features. Maybe you have a blog where you have use cases or case studies that you can include in your content. So with digital content, it becomes interactive and it opens the door to being able to include a lot more than here are our products and here's the information. All right, so now we're going to move on to the tools that I've been referencing. Zoom Catalog started as a search engine for supplier content. So we took all the print catalogs that we were seeing out there and digitized them, made them searchable, and put them on zoomcatalog.com. And that remains today. Suppliers list their catalogs on Zoom Catalog where distributors can go to browse, search, share, and customize content from suppliers. But what I want to talk about today is what that format looks like. So we are not saying don't create catalogs, don't create flyers. We want you to. But first, with Zoom Catalog, we can look at better ways to distribute and get it out there. So with Zoom Catalog, you can continue to create your content in InDesign or Illustrator. But when you submit it to Zoom Catalog, we're going to give you a format that is 1,000 times better than sending them a PDF link. These are a few highlights from what you get in a Zoom Catalog, but I'm going to jump in and actually show you one. But we give a clean interface. We make them fully searchable. You can easily browse, flip through pages, share with customers so they can jump to a page. They can be customized, and you get that expanded reach. So let's go over to zoomcatalog.com. Our session next week is going to actually focus a lot more on distribution, so this is just going to be a really quick peek. But when a supplier lists their catalogs on zoomcatalog.com, they are made searchable here on the search. So as a distributor, I can search by keyword. I could type in Tumblr and find every single page from every supplier that has a Tumblr. Or I can find the specific catalogs available from a specific supplier. So you can see here, PCNA has done an awesome job creating different guides and lookbooks, breakout catalogs for the products that they have available. And one of these, when you open it up, opens up the Zoom catalog. And I wanted to quickly just show you this one from Addonart, because Addonart does an amazing job with their catalog, but it isn't just the design that's awesome. They also do a great job with their interactivity, the amount of information they include, the size of their product images. A lot of suppliers are kind of in the mindset that we can't have too many pages in our catalog. And I think that comes from the days of printing where you paid more when you had a lot of pages. With digital, that's not necessarily the case. So you can feature one product per page or two products per page. You can use pages to feature large images and lifestyle shots. So you're able to create a much more beautiful experience for your customer and a better way for your distributors to share your line with their customers. So you can see they used an entire spread here just for one specific bottle. Rather than having 8 different bottles here stacked with info, they've given a really great feature to this. And this is an awesome spread for a distributor to present this product with their customer. Furthermore, they have this Learn More Here button. So rather than putting every single possible detail about this item all on the page, losing space that they can use for images, they rather enhanced it with some interactivity, and I can click through and view more information about that item right on their website. So I just wanted to highlight a catalog. We're seeing suppliers do some amazing things with their catalog design. You're welcome to come onto zoomcatalog.com and check things out. But as you can see, this format, instead of PDF, is much more useful. I can also just grab this link, paste it in an email, and send it to my customer. I'm not sending them a big clunky PDF. I can even send them to a specific page. So you can see I'm on page 8, which says in the link here. So when I share it like this, I can say, hey, check out this bottle, but feel free to browse the rest of the catalog. And they can do that. So lots of benefits here. And then on the right-hand side, we have a menu of options to cut images from pages, search, download specific sections of the catalog, and more. So that is Zoom Catalog. The last bullet here is expanded reach. I'll touch on that quickly, but that is our session for next week. And that is when you do digital catalog with Zoom Catalog, you're not just getting the awesome catalog that you can link on your website and use in your marketing and use on social media, but it is pushed through our distribution network as well. So you're available on the Zoom Catalog search engine. We have partners and partner sites we push through. So most of the buying groups have our catalog, supplier catalogs in their own portals that you'll be added to. So if you're going to take the time and effort to design a catalog, it's really important to think about maximizing the reach of that and getting it in front of as many distributors as possible. The other piece you get with Zoom Catalog that you don't get with PDF is an easy way for distributors to make it their own. So just going back to zoomcatalog.com, distributors can come here and drop their logo and contact information onto unbranded versions of these catalogs. So for you, if you don't have your catalogs available as customizable at this time, all you need to do is take your regular catalog and remove your logo and any mention. Our system will provide the tools for a distributor to then drop their logo, and they end up with their own unique link like this one, with their logo on the cover and their contact information in the corner. So they're presenting your design as their own, but they're then taking this and using it on their site, using it in their marketing efforts. So you're getting that distribution, and they're getting a beautiful piece of content without having to manage your catalog PDF. So that is one way to move away from sharing content as PDFs or images. The Zoom Catalog interface and format makes that really easy and brings in interactivity and additional features such as customization. Now with that, it does require that you create these pieces outside of our tools. So you're going to go into InDesign, build out your catalog, or you probably already are, and then you can upload it to get this additional functionality. However, we've recognized that this is one of the pain points a lot of suppliers face. There's only so much design you can do. While you might want a whole suite of seasonal catalogs for every holiday, your resources are limited. And we recognize that. This is a pain point every supplier has, big or small. And that's exactly why we built a tool called Zoom Studio. Some of you here actually already have Zoom Studios. Hopefully there's some tidbits that you can pick up on. But Zoom Studio is us rethinking how content is created in the industry. So not only is it challenging for suppliers to create all these additional breakout pieces or maybe category catalogs for different categories they sell, but they're also looking to create other types of content. So I mentioned it earlier, but when you have a customer asking for product suggestions, what do you send them, or what does your sales rep send them? They're probably sending them an email with a bunch of links from your website, like, hey, click on these and look at the product options. That's not a great experience. That distributor then clicks and kind of finds what they want, but it's not something they can grab and send over to their customer. It's not great. But what if you could create a beautiful presentation or a lookbook that you can send over to them, or even better, that your sales rep themselves could create without spending a lot of time and effort? And that's exactly where Zoom Studio comes in. So I will jump into Zoom Studio, but just to explain it more, we connect your product data with Zoom Studio so that when somebody is in there, they can search across your items, see pricing, and when they add products to their pages, they're getting all of that information right from your data source. So either promo standards, API, or spreadsheet. We also have technology called smart layouts, and this is something that was really important to us when we built this version of Studio, because we recognize most distributors and most sales reps and these people using these tools are not designers. So there is risk in sending your designer into Canva or even like Illustrator because they just don't have that eye for design. With the smart layouts technology, it makes sure things always look professional, clean, and on brand. And we'll take a look at that in a minute. But basically, Zoom Studio makes the design decisions for the user. Also, anything you create, you can share as customizable templates. This is a hugely beneficial tool for internal use and for distributors. So for example, you can maybe go in and create a new bestsellers lookbook. You can share that as an editable template, which means a distributor can use that as a template and make their own version. So they basically go in and can swap out some products, mark up pricing, replace their logo, and even add their logo to the products. Another use case we see often with suppliers and these templates is that they'll create a number of templates and use the permissions to set it just for their team. So now they have a library of templates for their sales reps to be able to quickly drop some product suggestions together. Or if there are specific requests they get often, like items under $5 or your best sellers, trending items, you can create templates with those. So your sales rep can go in, grab the template, make a few tweaks for the specific customer they're talking to, and send it off. We have analytics, we have collaboration tools, and a shared asset library. I'll touch on that, but I want to make sure we have some time to actually take a look. But this is not a full demo of Zoom Studio, so of course, if you're interested in learning more, just let us know. But you can see here, I have the PCNA Zoom Studio open, and I actually got a little head start with building a catalog. So you can use Zoom Studio to build lookbooks, catalogs, flyers, presentations, sales decks, and much more. So I started by adding a cover page, and then I added a second spread. And you can see on each page, there are these blocks. So they're either image blocks, product blocks. On the cover here, we have a text block, a contact information block. And that's where the tool is making the decisions on where things go and how they align. So all I need to do is the rep or the distributor is click on each block and add the content. So for example, if I click on a product block, I get to browse and search all of the PCNA products. I can search by keyword, product name, or ID. We already have some sunglasses here, so sorry if I choose the same ones, but let's go ahead. I select the ones I want to add, enter, and that information is flowing through from your data source. So they are instantly added to the page. I can go in and make some tweaks and changes. Maybe if I want to hide the swatch, I can do that, or mark it up, choose a different product image. I can make the necessary adjustments. And then I can enhance it with images. So I can upload an image from my computer. There's also a shared library, so you as the supplier can populate your lifestyle shots and other imagery you may have available that your teams and distributors use. You can make them all available in here. And then we have integration with Unsplash, which is a library of royalty-free images, so I can search by keyword and choose to use any of these within my design. So we can pop that in there. So you can see I very easily made a spread. I can go ahead and add another one, and I can keep building as many pages as I want. Once I'm done, I get a shareable link, and I can now use this wherever I need. So I could send it to a specific customer, or I can maybe put it on my website, use it in a campaign. And this automatically comes with the interactivity. So you can see these products have some limited details with them, but if I click, I can view the different color options, the price tables, the description. If there are different product images, I can browse through them. So you get an interactive piece that looks great and you can send off. So now it's possible to actually create lookbooks, presentations, and sales decks for any opportunity that comes up. It's not that the request has to go to your design team where you have to wait a few days or a week to get it back. And then the other huge thing is that I can always come back and make changes. So I'm sharing this as a link. And because that's a link, when I update it and make changes, whoever views that link again next is going to see those changes I make. So you could have an evergreen catalog that you have available with your best sellers and just constantly swapping out products as needed. Or if a sales rep sends some product suggestions and that distributor's like, hey, that one is too expensive or not great, they can just go in and remove it or update it. Once they're happy with it, the distributor can share it on with their customer. So Zoom Studio is an awesome tool for creating content, and it checks all the boxes of those pain points that we're seeing time and time again when it comes to content creation, which is that you need special skill sets to create them, special software. You want to make them interactive, include additional videos and links. You want to share it as a link. You want to be able to track it. So you can create content here easier than ever. So that is another content creation tool you can look at for solving your content creation needs for 2025. We are going to be going over a couple minutes. If you have to jump, we'll send a recording of this session out. But I also want to talk a little bit about pre-sale virtuals. I'm going to move through this one really quickly, but with Zoom Studio, we also have an add-on where users can drop a logo onto products before they share the piece. So what I just showed you with PCNA, I can have a logo drop into the imprint areas of those items. So this is allowing your distributors and your reps to create these pre-sales virtuals at scale really quickly, many at a time. I can show you a really quick demo here. So this is just a dummy studio where I got started before the webinar and I chose a logo that I want applied to the products. What that means is as I'm browsing and choosing the products I want to add, so let's do a hoodie, a mug, let's do a few different, that one, I'll do a bag. Now when I click add, because I chose to apply logo, the logo is going to be dropped into the imprint area on each of these products. There's a bit more to this. I can go in and change the color of a logo, swap out the logo, and so forth. But when we're talking about content creation, it's really hard not to talk about virtuals because we know that oftentimes the request is, hey, can you show me some items? And can you put this logo in the imprint area? So now that can be done. Distributors can self-serve and do it for themselves if they want. So creating virtuals has never been easier. These are not proof virtuals. I just want to be clear on that. They can get close depending on how complicated the product is, but these are pre-sales. They can get an idea, they can share with their customers. You can even share virtual enabled content. So say you create your summer lookbook and you send it out, distributor can go ahead and drop their logo onto all the products within that piece. So you get an amazing tool for presenting your products there, or for distributors to present your products. And then I want to talk about our one-click API. So the one-click API brings the power of everything I just showed in this webinar into your website and makes content creation instant. So somebody can be browsing your website and they can choose some products they're interested in. With a single click, those products can be added to a presentation or a catalog, and they can have a link to share. So I'll actually give you a really quick look at an integration. So as I'm browsing the PCNA website, I can put products I'm interested in into what we call projects. And then in my account, I can go and view my projects, which are the same thing as wish lists or favorites. The cool thing here now is that on this share button, if I click it, this activates Zoom Studio. So all the products in this project are added to a design and I get a link to share the products. So right now the PCNA website is communicating the products in this list with our tool. They're being laid out in a design, and now I have a link and I can share that on. So it has never been easier for a distributor to create a piece of content with the products of their choice from your site. And if they want to, they can go in and edit, maybe add their logo, create virtuals, add a cover page, and make it even more custom. Now, this is just one use case in which this has been implemented, but there's a lot of ways you can put the one-click API on your website. For example, you can use it in your search results. So if somebody is using your filters and they search by pricing, size, inventory, and they get a very specific selection of items that meet their criteria, you can use the one-click API there for them to instantly create a presentation with just those items. Another use case, which I can show you here, is that you can use it for instant sell sheets, which is super cool because we know a lot of suppliers spend a lot of time creating a PDF for every single product that can be downloaded from their site. Really hard because anytime that information changes, you have to go update the static PDF and then yada, yada, yada. It's just a lot of work. If you replace that with the one-click API like A4 did, now if you go to any product on their page, rather than downloading a sell sheet, let me do a short sleeve shirt here. Rather than downloading a sell sheet PDF to the computer to share this item and the information, what they've done is they've put this generate or instant flyer button. This activates the one-click API. Their website tells Zoom Studio, create a sell sheet with this product. And now I have a link where I can share it with my customer. Oops, let me grab that again. So we can take a quick look at what this looks like. And this is made with the data that is syncing with A4. So that's the other huge piece here is that With a static PDF, if you change your pricing or your color availability, you have to have your designer know that happened, go in, update your PDFs, and anyone with the old PDF just is stuck with it. However, with one click, it's pulling the data that we have recently sunk with and using that. So it's much easier to make accurate, up-to-date content from your site. So here's the sell sheet. We got the sidebar, but I can even go in and make changes. So maybe I want to add logo, hide some of the swatches, add some additional products. So just going back to the point of the one-click API, this is like the ultimate for content creation. Now your team, your distributors are self-serving, and they're doing so with one single click on your website. So just to recap, we've gone through different content creation tools that we have on Zoom Catalog. The first is if you're designing catalogs and flyers outside of our tools, you can upload it and we will give you a beautiful interface that you can use to present and share your content. It'll be indexed into our search engine and our partner sites. If you have Zoom Studio, we'll connect to your product data and you can now create catalogs, lookbooks, flyers, presentations, and provide this tool not only to your team members, but even through your website for distributors to self-serve. We have the virtuals add-on for Zoom Studio to create those pre-sales virtual samples. And then lastly, we have the one-click API where you can bring the power of these tools into your site for your visitors and your team. We are very much out of time, so I'm going to touch on this one really quick. Is just that I want to mention a trend of the suppliers moving from full-line catalogs. This is something you're going to see from most industry suppliers today. They are creating niche and breakout catalogs that meet specific needs of different target audiences. This is something we highly encourage suppliers to do to the best of their ability. We've been working with supplier catalogs for a really long time, and we recognize that catalogs that are a little bit more targeted do really, really well. And it makes sense when you think of it from a distributor perspective. Rather than sending a catalog that has every product category in it, they might just want to send your drinkware to somebody or products that are great for schools. So these smaller breakout catalogs are really useful. Overall, they might get less traffic, but that traffic is going to be a lot more valuable and convert a lot better. But we recognize again that it's challenging to create this content. So if you are looking to implement a strategy of more targeted pieces, Zoom Studio could be a really great solution for you to fulfill that. So if you're interested in getting started with any of these tools or learning more, or if you already have them and want to just brainstorm a bit with us, please feel free to reach out. We're always happy to meet, talk through things. So you can reach out to hello@zoomcatalog.com or email us through the contact form on our website. And then lastly, we have a session next week. Next week is going to be focused on the distribution of content. So today was all about how we're creating it, how we're able to make more of it and share it. Next week, we're going to talk reach. Like, how do you get people to view your content and maximize the ROI? Because there is no point in spending a week building out a beautiful catalog or even an hour or 15 minutes if no one's going to view it. So we're going to go into some strategies there and take a look at that. All right, everybody, I apologize for running long. I actually did not expect to get 8 minutes late here, but if you have any questions, can you go ahead and type them in the chat box and we'll get those answered. I do see somebody's asking if we recorded the session. We did. We will send a follow-up email to everybody who's joined us with the recording so you can share it with anybody on your team. Question about how to connect to Zoom Studio. I assume you mean your product data. So we will connect to your product data, however is going to be best for you. So it's something we take a look at, chat about. Most suppliers use promo standards. Not everybody has promo standards, so we have a few other options. So we can chat and figure out what's going to be best to get you up and running quickly. So there's a question about Zoom Studio is it like additional pricing? So yes, so if you are on Zoom Catalog and you want Zoom Studio, it is going to be another product. And it's going to be based on the number of SKUs that you carry. So we are happy to do a quote for you if you want to reach out to your account rep or just to me. I'll get you in touch with the right person. And then we'll send you a proposal so you can take a look at the pricing and what's included. All right. Well, not many other questions. Again, I apologize for keeping you guys here a little longer than planned, but hopefully you found it beneficial. I hope to see you next week. We'll include the link to sign up for it in our follow-up email as well. But reach out if you have any questions. Thanks so much, everybody.